just got off a bus in an Oslo sort of suburb, an outlying district of Oslo, south of the city, on the edge of the Oslo fjord. It's called Lærdal. And I'm meeting up here with a man I know who runs a music shop in Oslo, and his friend, a saxophonist, and a Swedish drummer. I'm going to be playing the bass, and I feel rough, and I've just had a bus ride, which it always, especially in summer, leaves me feeling nauseous. So fortunately I'm early, so I'm lying down on a grassy slope, and I'll phone them in about 10 minutes. Fingers crossed this is a jazz jam. It's a Friday night. Some of them will be drinking beer, I will not. I'd love to, but I just can't play with my blood sugar at the moment. It's barely under control. And they're jazz people, so we'll see how it goes. This is a few days later. The jazz jam went generally well. It was a bit like stepping back in time about 15 years for me, when I had a sort of a jazz band, amateur jazz band in Hampshire in the UK. But these guys were basically wanting to play bebop just for fun. They got no intention of playing live. They all have their different projects, but as a group, they're a group of 3 friends, and they want to work on bebop tunes, which is a challenge for a bassist who doesn't know the changes. I had to read the changes just there and then on my fretless, but I got away with it. I just have to decide whether or not I want to continue with these people. They're really nice, and they liked me, and yeah, we will see. But it's not fusion, and it's a bit like painting by numbers, I think, that kind of way of playing jazz. Meantime, I am starting to get interested in percussion. I've been playing some percussion for some time on my own stuff, but not trap drums as such. So I've been playing wood blocks and guiro and cowbell and improvised cymbals. Anything else? Yeah, household objects. But recently my local music shop had in a second-hand bunch of drum stuff, so I bought a snare drum, a Pearl, for almost nothing, and I also bought a cymbal, Meinl cymbal, which is a German one, which has a crack in the edge, but I now know how to fix that by taking out a smooth bite-shaped piece. Again, these things cost pennies, so I'm planning to do progressively more of my own percussion, drumming, cymbaling. So today I'm about to ride into Oslo on this train to buy a pair of brushes. I have drumsticks from years back, but I don't have any brushes, and I also need a drum key to more easily tune this snare drum. Well, I seem to have accidentally bought a drum kit. It's a story. About 15 years ago I did have a drum kit. 20 to 15 years ago I had a drum kit when I had a jazz band in the UK, and it was a vintage Slingerland, all wood. Great thing. Mostly played by our drummer in my band, but also very often played by me when he didn't turn up for rehearsals. His wife was great at sabotaging his attendance. Anyway, I moved house, I moved to London, I moved around in London, and finally to Norway, and I lodged this drum kit with one of my oldest friends who needed it for his jam sessions and things. But it finally just was a liability, and drum kits take up space, and that's a problem, especially when you move house. And they did too, my oldest friend in his family, so I authorised them to sell it, which they kindly did, and sent me the money. But I've been making a lot of music in the last 4 years, since COVID lockdown really, and using drum machines and looper pedals and playing my own hand percussion. And recently I decided I want to get away from continually using MP3s that I buy from a drummer that I like in Chicago, a guy called Jim Dooley. Instead of having him as the basis of my rhythm tracks, I want to move gradually to playing my own percussion and drums. So I bought a cymbal. In my local shop there was a cracked paste cymbal for sale for like nothing, 10 quid I think, and it's only an edge crack, and so I've got that on a mic stand, an improvised cymbal stand made from a mic stand, and I played that on my last 2 recordings on YouTube. And in the end I've decided that I need 1 or 2 drums, so I was looking for a floor tom and a snare. So a snare drum was also in my local shop, and I got that for a song too, and I've now learned how to tune that up. I've bought some snare wires for it, which it didn't have. I've learned all about snare beds, all kind of esoteric drum things. It's really interesting actually. So to get a crack, a proper snare crack, they don't just come like that. You have to set them up, and I now have. So I'm playing snare and cymbal at the moment. And then looking for a floor tom, I found this woman was selling drums in Oslo at a really reasonable price. And what she was selling was a Ludwig set, a kind of a children's set really, just slightly sized down, but proper all wood drums. So I got her to actually bring to me the tom, and in fact she just brought the whole drum kit and effectively gave it to me. I paid her for the tom a reasonable price of, I don't know how much now, 40 or 50 quid, but I've got a whole drum kit now. It was really funny actually, because I had to kind of sneak it into the house from the back of her car without my neighbour noticing, because she already hates me for any sound I make, and watching a drum kit come in would probably light the blue touch paper. This is a neighbour from hell. But let's not go into that right now. So let's have just a quick look at this drum kit, and I'll tell you what it needs, what things need doing to it. So the snare drum not having any snare wires on it, I went to buy some from the largest music shop in Oslo. And the guy said, "Oh, I'll fit it for you if you like." And he did. The next 2 pictures are how he fitted it, and the second picture is how I fitted it. So here's the cymbal, the cracked cymbal that I bought for next to nothing in my local second-hand records shop, cum guitar repairer. It's a Meinl, which is a German company, and the crack is here. I've marked the crack where it is, and then I've marked out where I'm going to cut a smooth bite-shaped piece and then use it. I mean, it works. So I'm going to do this cut and get it over with using a Dremel tool. So I just clamped it to my guitar workbench. Here we go. Really noisy, and the metal gets pretty hot. It's some sort of brass, bell metal actually, I think is what it is. So here we are down in my cellar workshop, and I have managed to make room for a drum kit, moving out a lot of the guitars to the other side. I've sold 3 guitars recently, so that helps. But yeah, first thing I need is a carpet, some kind of stool or seat that's lower than that bar stool thing. There's no hi-hat cymbals, and it's an incredibly cheap hi-hat stand, but I can live without that for now. But I need one more cymbal stand because I have one more cymbal, the one that you just saw me trimming out the cracks, the one crack, sorry. Yeah, so a carpet, a rug of some kind, a stool to sit on, and another cymbal stand. But I mean, I can play what I've got right now. Hi-hat can come a bit later. I just need to wait for my neighbour to go out. Just been down to the local charity shop and got a carpet and a seat of exactly the height, right for my legs, for about £22 the pair. Sorted. Just a little PS at the end. I've discovered that these days drummers and music shops call a drum stool a throne.